So joining me on this special broadcast is Siddharth Zaravi, Group Editor, Business Today. Also with me is India Today's Foreign Affairs Editor Geeta Mohan and Chetan Bhutani, my colleague from Business Today. And we'll talk to our colleagues in greater detail. Siddharth, finally the deal inked. A long wait, so near yet so far, was something that was said for a very long time. But break it down in nuts and bolts when Ursula von der Leyen says that the second largest economy and the fourth largest economy, when they come together, it benefits both. How does it benefit both, Siddharth?
Well, it is certainly a momentous development, and I must say, Gaurav, that the fact that the EU Commissioner actually announced this in Davos tells us more about why now. I think the why now is more important than what now, because clearly this is a signal to the rest of the world and primarily the United States of America that European Union and India can set aside their possible differences on the nitty-gritty of such a massive trade pact and come together. I think that is the broader signal. It will of course take between 6 to 8 months for the actual implementation of this, because remember, this will now have to go through 27 sovereign states which constitutes the European Union. There is a multi-step process through which it will get approved. Similarly, we will also see some of the fine print before the actual trade document is signed. But what is the big headline number? India has gone the farthest possibly that I can recall in any trade agreement. And it's just in a year that the pendulum for our trade engagement with the world has swung from one extreme to the other extreme. And
so just explain this before I bring in Geeta. Explain this. When you say India has gone as far as India could, break that down for us. How has India gone as far as India could?
Barring dairy and elements of agriculture products, everything has been opened up. I'll just take one example. India's automobile industry, which has over the last 4 decades been built up with a mix of measures and selective foreign investment approvals. And that story starting with Suzuki, and India is now a massive automotive hub. We have even allowed lower duties for up to 250,000 units. This will introduce a sense of competition, but India's automobile sector is now fully mature and therefore we've been able to make concessions. But as far as dairy goes, we haven't. And Gaurav, remember, the European Union deal comes after the one with the British, the one with Oman, the one with New Zealand. And if you take all of them and string it all together, it's very clear, even if the United States trade deal, which has been kept hanging in Washington and not by New Delhi, doesn't happen, it doesn't make a difference. It has sent signals, and that is why you have the US Treasury Secretary making the kind of remarks that he has. I think the important point to note here is, if you see the kind of liberalization that we are offering, I would say it is as momentous as the initial set of first economic reforms in 1991 and thereabouts, when we opened up to the world.
That's a very major point you're making, Siddharth. That's a very major point you're making, that this is a moment as significant as that first liberalization in 1991. And over the course of the next 1 hour, Siddharth, Geeta and I will continue talking about this. We'll bring in more analysts and experts to decode this trade deal. But Geeta, Siddharth raised a very pertinent point. It's not what now, but why now? So what message does this send out to President Donald Trump and his team?
Well, the DC team is watching very closely, monitoring the situation and the deal very closely. Siddharth is very right. It's not about what, but why now. And the fact that he mentioned Ursula von der Leyen having announced this at Davos. It was at Davos that Secretary Bessent also made it a major issue that while they're trying to tariff Russia and Russian oil over here, Europe is going ahead and striking a deal with India. So yes, they are actually quite wary and monitoring very closely as to what is happening over here between India and the European Union. This is also far bigger, Gaurav, is because while we talk about bilateral trade between India and various other countries, free trade agreements that India signed with EFTA, one bloc, the United Kingdom, the UAE. But apart from that, these are bilateral in nature. Here we're talking about 27 member states coming together and signing a deal or striking a deal with India. The number in terms of produce, in terms of sectors, and in terms of money is manifold. It is way bigger. So it's a big deal, and that's why when Ursula von der Leyen says it's mother of all deals, it means business, and it means that it is mother of all deals because it's 27 member states. Also in terms of technicalities, while there will be legal scrubbing, the deal is not going to go to individual countries. So you do not require parliamentary consensus and approval from individual countries, but you do require the EU Parliament to approve. That's where this deal is going to go to see a green signal.